Now I know this question feels unusual, but when you really think about it, it's a good point. Let's discuss it. Okay, so I heard this question on a podcast that I was listening to, and I just thought it was actually really interesting. Who taught you how to have sex? We just need to think about that question for a moment, because it's like nobody really sat you down and talked to you about how you have sex. Yes, okay, in my day at school, we were taught that a penis goes in a vagina and that's how babies are made. I mean, I don't even know 25 years later what schools are doing about this. You are taught how to put a condom on here in the UK. I remember we put it on a banana or a cucumber or something like that. But again, you're not taught how to have sex. Now, what does how to have sex even mean? I mean, this is actually fascinating. This is actually interesting. What does how to have sex even mean? Is it would we consider it as the penis going into the vagina? Would we consider it as I don't know where to go with this. Okay, let's take somebody in their teenage years. How would you teach them how to have sex? Is that even a thing? Would you teach your child of a teenage years how to have sex if you knew they were having it? Okay, that's interesting. I feel like we just made a good point there. If you know that your teenage daughter or son is having sex, are you gonna teach them how to do it, or are you gonna leave that are you just gonna leave them to work that out? And if you are going to leave them to work that out, where are they going to work that out from? What would teaching your teenage child who you know is having sex how to have sex, what would that even entail? What points would you be making? Well, I'm sure the first one everybody would jump to is how to have safe sex, how to be careful within sex. But to actually teach them how to, what does that mean? I suppose what it actually means is how to enjoy having sex. Are we teaching children how to enjoy? Oh my God, I've just used the wrong word. This is where I need to concentrate more. I just said, are we teaching children how to enjoy sex? No, it was wrong. Now I've lost my train of thought entirely. Are we teaching children more? Are we teaching young people, teenagers, who are having sex, how to enjoy having sex? What does that mean? How to explore sex? How to find out what you desire? How to understand what you desire? I mean, we're talking about young people here, but I feel like nobody even talks to adults about this. Wow, I feel like that's an incredible point. Do we even teach adults how to have sex? Do we even teach adults how to enjoy sex, how to explore their desires, how to understand their desires, how to know where their desires have come from? I don't even think we do this. I don't think we even talk about any of this. Now I know where my mind wants to take this conversation. My mind wants to take this conversation down the same paths it takes me in every video. All I want to say is, if we don't teach young people. I need to stop categorizing it. Let's just say young people, then it's open to interpretation. If we're not going to teach young people how to have sex, enjoy sex, be safe in sex, explore your desires, find out what you like and don't like, how to have a consensual relationship, how to carry sex out in a consensual way, to make sure the other party is that your partner is also safe and getting what they want and you're not pushing them too far. All of those things, if we don't teach them or talk to them about how to do that, where are they going to go for it? Straight to their phone. Straight to the pornographic websites, the videos. Straight to the hearsay in the playground. Straight to the conversations being had on their phones, on WhatsApp groups, or when they meet up and you know, somebody in the friendship group has had sex for the first time. And everybody wants to know what it was like. And that person that had sex for the first time, they're going to explain it being influenced by whatever influenced them. And it weren't us, because we ain't talking to the young people about this. It definitely wasn't us. So who was it? Again, probably some video that they watched. Or maybe it was an older brother or older sister that they heard on a telephone talking about it. And now they got that information, secondhand information. And where did the information that brother or sister got, where did their influence come? It just keeps, it can go here, it can go there, but it keeps ending up at porn. Because porn is the young people's sex educator. Porn is the young people's sex educator. And I feel confident in that statement. I feel confident to make that statement. I really do. I feel very confident to make that statement. So the reason why I feel like this question that I heard on this podcast, who taught you how to have sex? It's just so interesting because, the answer is nobody. So how did we find out? How did somebody of my generation find out? Because I remember the first pornographic videos that I watched was on a VHS tape, right? And it was something that I recorded off the TV. I don't know. I feel like I managed to get into some site. It wasn't even a site. It was like one of the channels, one of the Playboy channels or something. Recorded it, and then I had my VHS tape. What about the generations before me? Like when TV, like that type of thing weren't even on TV. Where were you getting your information from? Because when you're 15 years old and I say when you're a boy, because I was a boy, so I'm just speaking from experience, your hormones are racing at limits. They're at maximum capacity. And honestly, I remember this well. Let me speak about this. I remember this so well. It's almost like a turning point in my life. It's almost like a significant moment that I realised when everything changed. Okay, I was walking through the clothes mall shopping centre, and I just remember all of a sudden, all I was looking at was boobs. All I was looking at was breasts, ladies' breasts. I was just like, whoa, what are these? Like the curiosity, it was just like in a day it switched. The curiosity of the female body was incredible. Now you'd think, I was earlier than 15 because I remember my voice breaking in year 7, which here in England's 12. So that feels super early. I don't know what the statistics are or when that development is meant to happen, but honestly, I was curious. I wanted to know more about the female body. I wanted to know, and my hormones were racing. So before my generation, where would you have found that from? In my generation, you started getting videotapes, then DVDs came, and now everything's on the phone. But what hasn't changed is like us talking to the young people, or even just like I just said, like information for us adults, how to have a fulfilling sex life, how to enjoy sex, how to explore your desires, how to understand where your desires come from, how to have a look at your desires and understand which ones are the ones that are not healthy for you. Where's that conversation coming from? I can't see it. I can't hear it. Now, possibly there are podcasts that talk about things like this. I would like to have a podcast that talks about things like this, but currently I don't have enough money to start the podcast because it's expensive. You have to set lots of things up. You need a sound engineer. You need some video format. You need somebody to help you distribute it. Now, I know that I could do that all myself and have it as an amateur level podcast just to start with, and I would be happy to do that. But right now I'm at maximum capacity, so the only way for me to kick off a podcast is to bring people in to help me with that. Please, by the way, if you've been enjoying my content, you find it interesting, you've learned something from it, it's changed you in some way, please do consider donating to help me keep running these platforms and advancing them, because we need to get these conversations out there. If you'd like to donate, you can do that on my website, jeremyindica.com. There's a donate button there. I'm trying to move this as fast as I can. Conversations like this, I mean, let's just take this video as an example. It's interesting for everyone. This is an interesting subject because we all desire sex. We all want to enjoy sex. And actually, we all want everyone else to have a fulfilling sex life as well. We want us, like, it seems like it's one of those things that we all want everybody to enjoy. You know, nobody wishes a rubbish sex life. I wanted to say a shit sex life, but I don't know if I can swear. If I swear on these videos, does YouTube start taking it off? I sweared anyway. Nobody wants anybody to have a shit sex life. But how can you expect to have a good sex life, or a fulfilling sex life is a better term, without talking about it? It's like when two people meet and have sex for the first time, they're just fumbling over each other. Okay, and sometimes you get lucky and it's in sync, but how many times have you had a one-night stand? For anybody that's had one-night stands, how many times have you had one-night stands and it just be a fumble? It just be like two people fumbling over each other, and you just wake up in the morning, it's just unfulfilling. How to have conversations with your partner about what fulfills you. Another interesting topic. I would love, again, we come to this podcast idea. I would love to have a podcast that's running, that becomes successful, that I can bring on maybe a relationship therapist. Counselor, I think is the better word, right? Is the proper word. To bring on a relationship counselor and get them to help us understand questions like how to talk to your partner about what fulfills you sexually. Fascinating. What a buzz. That's a great question. And so interesting. And I just feel like if we could answer a question like that, or have a conversation about a question like that and put it out there, it would help so many people. What is the number one issue in long-term relationships? I mean, you wouldn't mind putting your money on the number one spot being sex. You wouldn't mind putting your money on that. You'd be confident to bet on that. So that indicates to me that this conversation around sex is interesting, important, what people want, what people need, And lots of people would listen to it. You never know, it could change relationships, those types of conversations. It really could. They really could. So maybe in the future I can get a podcast running on these types of topics. And then the interesting thing is, if we're happy to talk about it from adult to adult, okay. If let's use an example here. Let's say we have a couple and they don't talk about sex and they both feel unfulfilled. They've been married for 20 years and they hardly do it because, it's just not matching. They're not understanding each other. Now, let's say that in that relationship, they started opening this conversation and that was initiated for whatever reason. Maybe they listened to a podcast or they met up with a relationship counselor or whatever, however it worked out. They started opening up to each other about this conversation of sex. They realized that it wasn't a scary conversation after all, and they wish they'd done it 5 years ago. Now, the attitude of those two people towards this subject of sex changes. And then it's more likely to change to, if they do have children themselves, then it's more likely to change towards their children. So actually, if we can organize the adults around this topic, let me, I just want to get my words right because that wasn't correct. If we can organize us adults around this subject, then communicating it to the young people is going to be easier, less awkward in feeling, less uncomfortable, because we did it adult to adult first. So adult to child then becomes a little easier, because if we leave children uneducated and uninformed about these topics, it's only going to result in problems. There's no other result. It's going to end up in more problems than was needed. Because sex is causing lots of problems and it doesn't need to. I'm not even talking about sexual crime, right? Even though we know that is catastrophic. I'm talking about sex being something that somebody goes through their life and never feeling fulfilled in, which is sad. Because actually, sex is a wonderful and beautiful thing. It could almost be considered as a gift to us human beings, to the thing that makes us feel in those moments absolutely amazing. But some people never reach that. And that's sad. That's sad. So much to explore, so much that can be done with this topic, because I don't want my page to only be a one thing page. The more I think about this project in my mind, which is all the time, by the way, sometimes I can't get it out of my head. I'm working on it. I think to myself, I don't want this to be a one-trick pony. That's an old school saying. I don't think I should use that. I don't want this to be a one thing. I don't want my channel to be about one thing. I want it to be about a variety of things. But there is something heading the variation. And you know what I keep seeing that being? Sex. And the lack of conversation around it. And the way we handle it as a society. That seems to be kind of like the top node, which feeds into all the other things. Our magnitude of sexual crime that's happening against adults to adults, adults to children, children to children. Sex offenders and why they're doing the things that they're doing. And then this topic that we've been talking about on this video about exploring sex and why we're not doing that, and it's a beautiful thing, and maybe we're not getting its full potential, and why not. Young people and how they handle sex, what we're teaching them about sex, education, what's in the education system, it all seems to come from this sex, the thing we all desire and enjoy, but the thing that nobody is talking about. Okay, let's leave it there. I felt like that was fun. It was a fun exploration of the idea that I had in my mind. Thank you to that podcast for talking about it. And I hope you're enjoying these videos on this YouTube channel. I'm trying to be as innovative as I can. If you know me, you know I'm working hard. We keep moving, we keep inventing, we keep being innovative. And thank you for watching.